Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? Welcome. Breaking news. We have very exclusive footage and information coming to us out of Venezuela. Matter of fact, a contact we have here in America who's from Venezuela, who has family in Venezuela, are able to get their hands on some raw footage out of Venezuela of Maduro's troops, Venezuelan troops, headed toward the border of Colombia. We have reports that potentially U.S. forces, certainly special ops, U.S. forces, special ops, including air cover, are being positioned in Colombia in case the Colombian government was to send troops across the border in an invasion or some type of attempt on Maduro's forces in Venezuela. We're also understanding that it's not just U.S. forces involved, but certainly Brazilian forces also are organizing and preparing for a potential invasion of Colombia. Also, we know the Israelis are also involved with special forces and capabilities to participate. And there may be other nations. We're hearing the French and the British. That's just a rumor on them, but they may also be in the neighborhood with special forces. Now, we've got some raw footage. Here is some of this footage just now coming out of Venezuela. This is Nicolas Maduro's troops headed toward the Colombian border. We want to show that to you right now, and as well as I have a text message coming in from one of these, from a contact I have, a man who is getting this information from family members or from friends. I shouldn't say family members, actually. I think he's getting it out of military personnel and friends from the Venezuelans, people in Venezuela. And so let's show that footage, Brock, that you have. And here we go. I'm going to show you this, folks. And then you'll see Maduro's forces on the move. Quite extraordinary footage taking place right now down in Venezuela. We're watching this very closely now because it's very possible. You know, Nicolas Maduro is saying that President Trump is trying to have him assassinated, and he has been saying that for some time. So hang on just a second. Brock is pulling up this video footage for you. Let's see. Troops in the back of trucks. You'll see right here again. Here comes a truck. A lot of soldiers there. Those are all Venezuelan soldiers. That's a lot of soldiers rolling there. We'll show some more of that footage here in just a moment. Here's what I have to read, and Brock will also show you. We know there are U.S. personnel working with the Colombians. We have been working with the Colombians. That's not, that's not like something new. But here's what I'm being told. Reports I'm getting from the folks down there on the ground in Venezuela. It says this will not be a full all-out war in Colombia. There is active and retired Venezuelan soldiers who are protected in Colombia. Remember the last couple of weeks back when there was a car bomb that exploded? I do remember that. The government persecution on Venezuelan retired soldiers or active soldiers, the word in the ground in Venezuela is that today most likely will go to Venezuela, the humanitarian aid that is going. And he goes on to say, and again, it's a little bit of broken English here, to be protected, first of all, by active and retired Venezuelan military. Also, the text says, members that are in Colombia with the United States air cover or protection. So there is U.S. personnel on the ground in Colombia that are working with the Colombian members of the military. Matter of fact, we have some pictures of that right there. The man on the left, that's Admiral Kurt Tidd. He's instructing several Colombian generals That's in Colombia, okay? And also we have some more photographs here. We have a staff sergeant, an actual staff sergeant, looks like from the 82nd Airborne Division, who's training and showing several Colombian soldiers how to shoot an M4. Okay, so that the man with the gun, that's 82nd Airborne. He's a staff sergeant, and he's instructing, those are Colombian soldiers. He is teaching them how to properly handle an M4 rifle to use in warfare. So now and everybody's in battle fatigue. That's down in Colombia. So we're getting that information. But also, while that's coming on, in the text I have, and we're going to show you some more raw footage. Brock, whenever I'm talking, whenever you're showing the footage, can they hear me talking? Okay. Then you can show them some more footage here. I will continue to read this text. It goes on to say that members that are in Colombia with the United States air cover or protection is already in play. Matter of fact, likely that Maduro's government military is not going to allow it. In other words, they're going to resist any type of a military option that would try to remove Maduro from office. And it also says the military will start the fight. Then is when the fight will begin. USA involved. There you see. There goes the footage. Here comes a tank rolling right down the streets in Venezuela. There's another tank, and those are headed for the Colombian border. We'll continue to let that footage roll, Brock. And also it says in the text I have, the military will start the fight, then is when the fight will begin. USA with Colombia and its allies will be involved in this operation. So the United States Special Ops, continue to flow that, because I want people to understand that this is actually happening as we speak. The United States, along with the Colombians, U.S. going to be using special ops. Again, this footage has been coming right out of Venezuela this morning from overnight. This was taking place last night. Tanks were on the roll, troops on the move to the Colombian border. And so the United States would be using air cover and special ops to help and assist the Colombians. Also, Brazil will be involved with their military troops on the ground. And we're hearing that Israeli special ops will be involved in this as well. Now, you have to understand there's a lot of bad actors in Venezuela. Hezbollah. And that's part of the reason why we've been wondering why Benjamin Netanyahu was in Brazil. Part of the reason he was in Brazil, folks, for 6 days is he's been working with the Brazilian government about what are we going to do about what's going on in Venezuela. Because what we're hearing is, the information I'm getting is that Maduro is giving the bad actors, he's giving Hezbollah members Venezuelan passports. He's giving all kinds of bad actors, all kinds of from rogue nations, he's giving them Venezuelan passports and he's covering them, protecting them, and integrating them into his Venezuela troops. Okay? So Juan Guaido is trying to figure out how he's going to take over this nation. One thing is also we know that Maduro's been shipping gold out of there, but you see the tanks, you see the armored vehicles, you see the soldiers piled in the back of the trucks. All of this is moving toward the border. Again, let's show that map, because on the map you'll see that you have Venezuela and Colombia. And you'll see that as there's a lot of border there, there's a lot of border. I don't think there's any way in the world that Maduro is going to be able to protect the entire border with Colombia. But the key is Caracas. Look way up there at the northern part of the Venezuela there. You'll see Caracas. That is where Nicolas Maduro is. That's the seat of power. There's more ways to get there than through Colombia on the ground. Obviously, you could come in through the sea and through the air. So, and then there's the Brazilians that are also willing to come in with the assistance of maybe even the French and the British. Certainly the Israelis, special ops are involved, we know this, and the United States. So Maduro, and Trump. Now, President Trump will be speaking tomorrow night in the State of the Union address. There is some indication. A lot of folks are wondering, will he declare a national emergency along the border with Mexico? And the other thing you got to wonder about, will he begin to announce anything in relation to Maduro and Venezuela? Will he discuss that in the State of the Union? Some people are thinking that Trump is going to, but there you see, there's Admiral Kurt Tidd as he's instructing the Colombian generals in Colombia. Everybody in fatigue. Everybody in fatigue. Okay, so it's getting very, very precarious. There's no doubt about that. They're look, the bad actors are in Venezuela. Drug cartels, radical extremist groups. ISIS is there. Hezbollah certainly is there. Others, okay? They're all in there. And don't forget, the Russians and the Chinese and the Cubans are all on the side of Maduro. Even Mexico is kind of shaky which side they're on. They're kind of trying to stay neutral. So look, this thing is not going to be a full-fledged all-out war, but I do look for some type of potential military operation to remove Maduro from power. What they really like Maduro to do is resign and leave peaceably, get on a plane with a plane full of gold if he thinks he can get away with it. They would love to see him get on a plane and fly to Moscow and let the Russians take him in. So this is what's going on, guys. Let's pray this is not a major full-fledged war down in Venezuela, a really ugly war. We don't want to see it. United States, we've heard rumors. Of course, you saw John Bolton on his yellow legal pad, 5,000 troops to Colombia. You guys saw that for yourself. We're not hearing that there's 5,000 troops, but we are hearing there is special ops down there and that we got air cover down there. And we're certainly down there training. We're involved in preparing the Colombian army and working in conjunction with the Brazilians, along with the Israelis, and maybe even the French and British to come up with a way to remove Maduro from his position there in Venezuela. So we'll see if Maduro gets on a plane and heads to Moscow. Will he take his ticket to Moscow, or will he wind up getting involved in a very ugly situation? I pray to God if we don't, but I tell you, the squeeze is on, okay? The squeeze is on. I'll be back later today at 12 noon Eastern with a powerful live broadcast. We're going to cover all of the current events going on all over the globe, including this developing story taking place out of Venezuela. I'll be back a little bit later at 12 noon Eastern. I'll also have a couple more videos to put in before that program goes live. I'll see you in just a few moments. Are you serious?